In today's episode, we had the absolute pleasure of spending time with an icon, a living legend, and a complete badass, as well as a local Seattle celebrity, Drea Cargill. We don't shy away from hard topics, from deep topics, and from really emotional roller coasters that are her life that make her the icon that she is today.
Drea manages talent in the entertainment industry while pursuing her dreams of becoming a civil rights attorney and co-authoring a book. She's a pillar in the community and a board member for a few nonprofits. To quote Nipsey Hussle, the highest human act is to inspire. And that was something that she really did throughout this entire episode. And that was a quote actually directly from her. So please dive into this episode with us. Grab a drink. It's kind of a long one, but you are going to be jaw dropped on the floor from beginning to end.
Welcome to Find Your Fuse, the podcast and community for women who know they're meant for more.
We're your hosts, Brooke and Kelly, two founders, two entrepreneurs, and two best friends who are figuring it out just like you. Because if you have found that success is anything but a straight line, then you're in the right place.
Join us each week as we go through all things business and all things real life.
We're going to bring you along for the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
Grab your drink, get comfy, and get ready for a chat with your new best friends.
Let's like this shit.
Yay! Hello, and welcome back to the Find Your Fuse podcast. We are so jazzed to have you here with us. We have a very, very, very special guest who is a low-key celebrity in the world. We are obsessed with Drea Cargill, and she is here giving her time, love, energy, and authenticity on the podcast today. So we cannot wait for you guys to hear what's in store.
Yes, Drea, thank you so much for joining us today. And before we dive into the many questions that we have for you, because to anyone listening, you have led an incredible life, and there has been so much in every vein of emotion that you've gotten to experience. So there's a lot I know you're going to be able to share with the audience that's incredibly helpful. But who are you? What do you do? What do you want people to know about you before we dive into those parts of your story, to give them just some precursor about you?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I am Drea Cargill, and in my day job, no, actually, I'm kidding. I actually work in a law firm right now in my day job, but in my main job, I am a talent agent. So I negotiate contracts and endorsements and everything that you see behind the scenes for celebrities to put them on television, into commercials, into brand partnerships, etc. I'm the one kind of doing that behind the scenes. And then I'm also becoming a lawyer at the moment. So my life is hectic, which is why I'm working at a law firm, so I can learn every ins and out of law and order.
I love this.
I love it. I love it.
Yes. And then once I pass the bar, I will still stay in entertainment, but I'm really heavily drawn to civil rights. So I definitely want to be able to utilize my platform to help like the suppressed, the oppressed, people who can't utilize their voice to defend themselves, really find some justice for them, because their current situation is a little crazy at the moment. And then my passion is really helping as many children as I possibly can. I think no matter what I do in my career, I always want to be known one day by how many kids I actually helped.
I love this.
Okay. Didn't already have an angel wings on you. Now they're shining super bright. I love that you said, something along the lines of, because the world is kind of crazy right now. That is one of the many reasons why Brooke and I started the Find Your Fuse podcast. What had happened last year and kind of the current climate that we're in. We're like, no, women deserve better. Damn it. And
Absolutely.
that's literally why we did. Like, we were hyped. Like,
We have the whole playlist.
Yes. Playlist. Like, we've done different photo shoots, and we're like, no, like, screw the patriarchy. We can do this better, and women deserve everything. And so I love that is part of your mission, and also the kiddos.
Yes, they're our future, right? Like,
Yes.
if we don't focus on them, really, we're doing ourselves a disservice and the future of humanity. So minor details.
Literally minor details. Okay, cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so starting off, we always start with a really amazing duality questions, because life is that way. There's joy and there's sorrow. There's hills and there's valleys throughout everything. So first things first, what's a moment recently where you felt grounded in your power? Like, this version of me is exactly who I want to become.
Wow. I feel like that is a pretty powerful timing question for me. I had a pretty massive surgery in April, and I was in my relationship with someone, and we were family planning, and I had all these complications from surgery that led me to being hospitalized and losing all my blood, and just on this like trajectory that I never thought I would be on. So I'm now on a journey of potentially freezing my eggs, and I'm single again. So it's like
Okay. I feel
I think in that moment though, I really had to navigate how to advocate for myself against our healthcare system, which to reiterate what you said about women needing to really stand up for ourselves because we do a lot of amazing things in this life, right? Um, I really had to utilize my voice, and there were times where I feel like the doctors were like, "Okay, like we met our match with this one," because I was like, I'm not going to just take that for an answer. I need, someone else to talk to me about this because I don't think this is accurate. And plus, I really leaned into my body and followed my instincts, which I think is crucial in those situations.
100%. And I love that this is even a part of the conversation in any way, shape, or form because more women, humans in general, literally anyone needs to advocate for themselves, especially in a medical space. And yes, doctors know more about medical things than I do. That's for damn sure. But when it comes to feeling inside of your own body, if you know something is off and know something doesn't feel right, even if that doctor ends up being right about something in the long run, you should never feel bad about questioning, getting a second opinion, leaning into that intuition because what if they aren't? What if it's something
What completely, and especially when it comes to our reproductive system, I have learned that it was rare for me as a white woman to have I have numbers of fibroids in my body, and one was the size of a small watermelon on my uterus. So I was like, whoa, like this is crazy. So then I started to do my due diligence, and I remembered that one of my good friends actually started the Fibroid Foundation and fights for funding and rights with Washington, D.C., which now has led me. Venus Williams has exactly what I have, and a few other very famous people, but unfortunately, primarily women of color have this. So the funding and the access to healthcare has been cut. So again, you'll see me in the future utilizing my platform to really make a stand on this and help as many people because one, especially if you don't have health insurance, my deductible was $2,000. My surgery was $147,000. Like, I can't imagine being a single mom, even having to face paying a deductible or feeding my children, right? Then you add freezing eggs, potentially surrogacy down the road. It's not ideal and it's not fair for women to even have to face this. So
it's bullshit. Honestly,
yeah,
like when you say
completely.
this is a safe space, we can say anything however you want here. No, it's when you said those numbers, I actually got full body chills just now because
Same.
it's so upsetting how screwed up the medical system can be and the insurance, all of that can be, and it just really it makes it to where people can't get the medical care that they need, and that should never be a thing.
Absolutely. You shouldn't be choosing death potentially as an option rather than seeking care.
It's insane. It's
Yeah.
insane.
There shouldn't be a choice. Like, you shouldn't be like, okay, I'm going to either feed my family this week or I'm going to go to the doctor. Like, that
Right.
should never, ever cross anyone's mind. And the sad part is, like, even if you are someone who is, I'm just going to like throw in my dad as an example. He has a lot of health problems and he'll go to the doctor and they can't fix things for him. And he feels so sad that he now has to call other doctors for other help. And he's like, the doctor should be able to help me more. And I was like, Dad, we're in the US. That's not how it
Right.
is. They're like,
Yeah.
it either it is or it isn't, and you're on your own. And so even empowering anyone in the sense of like, this is your body. You get to choose. You have to fight for yourself because no one's going to fight for you.
Right.
Oh God. Anyway, this whole conversation, I just have so
Go
many
on.
chills.
So opposite side of duality though. So this moment for you on the upside, feeling like you are exactly who you're meant to be in this moment because you are doing everything you can to learn from your own experiences and put yourself in a place to create a platform to help others, which is incredible.
Yeah.
What is the season of your life that looks good on the outside but felt the opposite on the inside?
This last season for sure. I think people are really good on social media, right? Like people think everyone's life is perfect, and I'm fine with leading that facade because I also don't want a lot of people in my business at all. But
Yeah.
I think as we dive into some of the topics, I'll be able to speak more to how, like, when you are in a relationship with somebody who's the top 1% of their profession, right? And you're bleeding out in a hospital bed, but the transfer portal just opened and he's the general manager. I'm in the hospital by myself and I'm like, go get that number one quarterback, that number one trade. And he did. So, like, it was great. But
We're not
imagine if,
shocked. We're not shocked that that's what you were doing.
Correct.
but
Correct.
imagine if I wasn't strong and I understood the football world, right?
Mhm.
I think as we dive into that, I will be able to explain that a little bit better. People look at that life like it's glamorous, and it's sometimes not always what it's cut out to be.
I'm excited to have that conversation for anyone who is listening. They're like, what? We're going to have a whole part of this episode that talks about the realities of being a WAG or a wife and girlfriend of a pro athlete or anyone within that industry. So just stay tuned for that.
I'm in
Anyways,
retirement. I'm in retirement.
yes, 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 yes. Um, so yeah, so before we get into that story, there were so many amazing things that you said that you could talk about. And Brooke and I were reading through it together with just jaws completely dropped, hitting the floor like, what? I feel like your whole life could be an entire docuseries. And so one of the key words that you sent us was co-victim of a homicide. Can you go into that? Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Even just the words in general. What does that mean for people listening?
Yeah, so it was weird. I found myself in a very foreign place, and still to this day, 4 years later, it's a very weird space to be in. My best friend, he struggled with addiction. So, like, I'm very good at boundaries, and I think he taught me boundaries or what it was like to have boundaries. Because unfortunately, when people are addicts, you have to learn how to love them from afar. And you still have a loyalty to them, and it doesn't lessen your love for them. It's just that your life is going on this path, their life is obviously going that way. And you just wish them the best, right? Well, his addiction was so bad that he was actually stealing catalytic converters. And then he happened to be cutting one off of a truck that had a man living in it. Well, this man is extremely mentally ill. So he shot him 3 times. And then while he attempted to get in his truck, shot him a 4th time. But not just that, he tied him to the bed of his truck and drug him, and then left his body by federal railroad tracks, and then had the wherewithal to move his truck down the street and then get in his truck, clean up the crime scene, get in his truck, drive down the street, and, like, thank God there was a witness, or else we would have never known any of this, right? When the police found him, he showed, like, no remorse for the crime. It was, like, totally like he's potentially done this before. Unfortunately, the state of Washington is really well known right now with the loophole of too incompetent to stand trial. So I sat in a courtroom looking at this man face to face just to hear that. Never even got to hear Brent's name be mentioned. And then we just received no justice. And the thing that was scary is, and thank God for Lisa Wagner, Pierce County prosecutor, she caught that he was at the Eastern Washington Mental Institution. They were falsifying medical records, and they said that he was not a violent offender, and they were going to release him into a halfway house. So, like, imagine I could just been at the grocery store one day and ran into him, and I would have had to been the sane one and be like, oh, okay. So that was like that actually went on until last year. And then even um, another branch of law enforcement reached out to me because his case then rolled up into federal, and they were trying to ask me to get involved with that, and I was just like, no. Like, this has been way too much. And then they actually didn't even get justice in that case. But it was kind of ironic. The federal officer said to me, "You should become a prosecutor." And I was like, funny story.
Like, sit down. Let me tell you a story.
Let me tell you my
Um,
lore. I'm becoming a lawyer.
but I did say that I'm going to be on the right side of the law. So I can help families like myself and Brent's family actually receive justice. So
Wow. That's
yeah, that was that in a nutshell. It was a national case. So I do recommend, by the way, if you ever find yourself in this situation and it makes national news, don't ever read the comments on any social media outlet. They're brutal. People don't even know what they're talking about. Like, they need to get lives clearly if they want to just entertain themselves on a platform like that.
Mhm.
Um, it definitely gave me more of a backbone, I would say. It's made me a stronger human
Yeah.
being.
Yeah.
And I think, when I do eventually help other people get justice, that will be in honor of Brent since we didn't receive it ourselves.
It is insane that you had to go through that, and sending so much just love and empathy your way, in the sense of just that's so much for one person to handle, and you came out of the other side of it and went, I won't let this destroy me. I won't let even the hate comments online, any of it, the heaviness of the experience of it destroy me. I'm going to help it fuel what I want to do next in my life and actually help more people, is something you should be very proud of.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
It took me a while. I would be lying if I didn't say it derailed me. Like, and the timing too. Not that the timing's ever right, but it was 10 days before my dad's 1 year anniversary of passing suddenly on Father's Day in 2020. So it was like I was trying to get through that first year of my dad's loss, and then you add that, and it's like you're joking. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way this is real life right now. So then you had to like decompartmentalize it, switch
Mhm.
gears, and pick okay, today I'm going to grieve my dad. Tomorrow I'm going to grieve Brent. Like, it was a very hard time of my life. And plus, we were still in COVID. So things were
Mhm.
still out of the norm. And it was just a very unfamiliar place for me, for sure.
You couldn't just go run and hug a friend because of COVID and like get the support you needed in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, at the time I was living in Chicago, so I could go hide out in Chicago and be away from the place that just reminded me of all things that were not
Right.
necessarily happy, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then I started to travel more again, and that helped me definitely. Traveling is always a good way to help you get through some things for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah, I
I second that.
12,000,000% agree.
Yeah.
Um, would you say, like, is that a piece of advice that you'd give anyone listening who's going through a severe loss right now? Is like find yourself in new ways, go travel, put yourself in different places. What is something you would tell people?
Absolutely. So I'm heavy on self-care. Like, actually this morning before I met with you, I had acupuncture and I try to do that on Saturday mornings.
Love that.
Um Self-care is obviously different for each person. I tend to take it to the max. So I'm constantly going and like getting my face microneedled or pedicures. Pedicures are massive, I think, because right, your feet ground you. So taking care of your feet, I think, is extremely important. You'll hear me say 10 toes down. That's a motto that I stand by. Actually, Brent and I, that was our loyalty to one another. Um, and I think finding your why in anything you do, that's self-care, and then that helps you figure out what makes you happy.
I love that. I love
I
that a lot.
second self-care more than anything. It's really true. Doing stuff to take care of yourself is productive, and a lot of people don't think that, but in reality, if you take time to ground yourself and really fill your own cup, you'll be able to show up better for you and anyone around you.
Absolutely. And I think mental health obviously ties into this. And I'm a big proponent of therapy.
Mhm.
And I also adopted a way of thinking. I always say we don't go through things, we grow through things. And once I changed go to grow,
Yep.
I started to see more positive, no matter how drastic the situation was. And I started to see different angles as well.
That's amazing. I want you to say it louder for the people in the back.
I love that so much. And for, for the women listening that are also going through so dang much all the time, constantly, because women do, um, take 30 minutes and go get a pedicure for yourself this weekend. Like go do one thing that'll fill your cup so that you can show up better for everyone else around you. Um, Brooke and I have this conversation all the time. She'll check me and she's like, "Hi, you're getting kind of grumpy. Have you gone to yoga today?" And I'm like, "No, get your ass
I'll
out and
I'll
go to
go
yoga."
with you.
Yeah. And
Amazing.
she'll do the same to me. If I'm grumpy,
Mhm.
she's like, "Have you meditated recently?" And I'm like,
Yes.
"Mm."
Yeah. No, I'm actively avoiding my journal, actually. No.
But that's important too, right? Being surrounded by the appropriate people that help you be accountable, and accountability in every aspect of life is necessary, even though not a lot of people like to be held accountable. But I think the more you realize that and you surround yourself with people who are willing to do that, you win, right? You only get better and improve.
Mhm.
100%. And I think it never feels good to be held accountable, but it becomes something that you actually, or at least for me, I used to feel more defensive about it if someone would say something to me like, "Have you meditated?" Like, anything.
Yeah.
And over time, realizing that when the right person that you trust is telling you that kind of thing, it's always coming from a place of love, and it's actually something that you should feel good when they say to you. It's not negative, it's nothing to be defensive about. It's like, "Hey, I love you so dang much that I
Yeah.
know you're not feeling your best right now, and I know what you need to feel that way. So, like, I'm gonna shove you right into that. Thank you."
Absolutely. And I think that goes back to having gratitude and showing gratitude every day. And during COVID, I really adopted that. I have an app that I write in every single day, and it gives you a prompt, or you can write whatever you want. I like the prompts because it keeps it brand new and refreshed. But I noticed once I started being mindful about gratitude, then I was just more grateful for things
Mhm.
naturally every single day. And like I find myself, well, in my healthcare journey, I've said out loud, like, I'm thankful for healthcare insurance, like
Yes,
things that
totally.
I think we take for granted.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, for sure. I think accountability and having gratitude can take us far.
Yeah, we forget a lot when it comes to gratitude. Even like breathing, the act of breathing, the fact that we don't have to actively think about taking our next breath because our body just automatically does it for us. Like, when's the last time anyone has thought about that?
Right.
Because it's so menial and we're used to it. But in reality, that's something to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Uh, one more question within this topic and this experience that you've had, just because loss and grief really is such a hard conversation and one that everyone goes through at some time. The one thing we're guaranteed on this earth is we're all going to die, which is dark, but it's the reality. So you're going to experience losing someone at some point in your life.
Right.
What do you wish more people understood about surviving a loss that isn't just personal, but for you, it was public, it was traumatic, it was defining in many ways. What is something you wish more people understood about that?
Unfortunately, you can't teach people empathy or compassion, right? But I
Hmm.
think I would just say, because a lot of people haven't actually gone through death and it's weird for them, it scares them. Some people are terrified about it, they don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Me, I want to talk about it because that's how we grow through it, right? And we heal. Healing is so necessary. And I would say seek to understand. Like I've adopted that thought process as well. Like learn how to seek to understand, especially when you don't understand or if it scares you.
Mm.
Because sometimes I think the scare is bigger than it actually is, right? And
Totally.
then
Your
and
head
then
builds that up so much larger than what
yes,
half the time reality is. Mhm.
leads to overthinking, everything that can also end up with self-sabotage, all that stuff, right? Just seek to understand and try to show compassion, I think, are the greatest things I can ask of somebody when someone they love is going through that.
Yeah.
Um, and it's okay to ask questions, right? Like I I would have never known to ask any questions about a homicide or what it's like to be a co-victim of a homicide, but I'm a firm believer that that experience was meant to happen in my life so I can talk about it and help other people.
Hmm.
So I don't mind answering questions.
Was there anything through your grief journey that surprised you? Like something, I think like many people, like you said, like those who haven't experienced death, one can somewhat imagine. I feel like we can't actually even really picture though, like what that may feel like or what may happen to you during that experience or how you may react to it. But was there something that surprised you throughout yours?
Completely. I'm used to carrying a lot of people on my back, and I'm always the strong one. And I'm a mom to a son who's 21 years old, and I have a lot of nephews and nieces that I talk to them, at least one of them, every single day. And it was interesting to watch how I had to shift from that hat, right? Like, especially with my dad. Like, how do you shift from a mom hat to being the daughter that just made the do not resuscitate decision in a hospital, right? And like still be there for your child, but really you're like, no, this is about me right now. You know what I
Right.
mean? It
Yeah.
was a very strange time to be, and it was also strange to see how the kids responded, right? Because like, wow, she's actually shutting down. And that's normal to do that in that situation.
Yeah.
You can't always be on.
Yeah.
And I think it humbled me a lot. And I prior to COVID, I was like flying 75,000 miles a year. During COVID, I was flying 40,000. I was really showing up to everything for my clients. And now I don't. I say no so much more. And I think going through those two significant losses within 1 year empowered me to do that. Like, no, I'm not feeling good enough to go do that. I'm not doing it. But good luck. You got this.
I send
Like,
you all of the love. Send
yeah,
it.
yes.
I've already prepared you. Just go kick butt.
Yeah.
Right, right. So really taught me to lean into how I'm feeling and be okay with saying, I'm just not going to do that. Because also, too, when you lose your parent, you're becoming a whole new version of yourself. It's so wild. I don't even know how to explain it. And like, it's been 5 years and it's still certain things pop up and it gets me, right? And you're just on a journey, a way different journey than you were on prior. And you have to learn how to switch gears and make life work for you in a different way than you anticipated.
And probably accepting help.
Absolutely.
Was probably a big one too of like, it's my turn and I'm okay with someone coming to coddle me for a minute because that's what I need right now. And I think that's
Or
totally
ask for
acceptable.
it. Like
Mhm.
accepting versus asking.
Yeah.
Like I still just, I'm used to getting things done. Like I'm very timely, schedule. If I commit to something, I'm there, I'm on time, I'm trying to, get everything done. But asking for help, I think, will always be probably one of my hardest things to do because I'm used to just getting shit done, right? And moving on to the next.
And also when
Exactly.
you do it yourself, it's done to the standard you want it to be done. So you may as well, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
that. So shifting conversations a little bit. As we like lightly mentioned earlier, you've lived many lives and you've had many different experiences. One of whom, and a piece of your story, is your now retired experience as a WAG and being a wife and girlfriend in NFL, or within that industry. So tell us
Yeah.
about that because it does look glamorous online. It looks fun. It's
Mhm.
the cute outfits. It's the going to the games. It's the suites. It's the parties.
Yeah.
Tell us everything.
So first and foremost, I don't want it to seem like it's negative because we all go through a lot, and we actually just had our Women of the NFL conference in June, and I think it was a pretty common census of people do not know what we go through.
Yeah.
And like whether that's financial abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, the uncertainty of where you're about to live because your team just traded you, and then the ones who have children involved, right? Like uprooting their lives, new schools, packing up a house. There's so many things that go into this, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's kind of been a wild journey. Like my whole life, football has just been kind of front and center. Like at 3 years old, my dad handed me a football and he's like, you can throw a spiral, you can throw anything. So I'm like, okay, watching Michigan and Washington football every Saturday with him. And then my uncle was a football coach. So like I was always at games, right? And then my high school boyfriend then went on to play at UW. So like my whole life literally has been football. And then I did take a break. I did date a soccer player who was D1 soccer coach. So
No sports, but
trust
we should
me,
different kind of football. Different kind of football.
trust me, I don't know. I like to say, people are like, so that's your type. And I'm like, no, I'm their type. Like,
You're like, I was born into this. I don't know what to tell
yes,
you.
yes. So it's been an interesting journey. My most recent ex, he's the general manager of UCLA football. So that was very educational.
I'm sure.
And then prior to that, on and off for a while, somebody who played in the league for the Seahawks, the Giants, and the Cowboys. We met in 2014, literally like 10 days after he was drafted. I had a boyfriend. I really was not interested in any football player. And it was funny because that day he had signed something for my son. And my Facebook post on the day we met, it said, I love the rookies already. And then I ended up loving him. So I was
Really loving
that
him.
is funny. Yeah. Like weird how life works out.
God's like, she said it. So we're just going to make this happen
Yeah.
now. Reality.
So we're going to make this work out for her. So the journey in that was just nuts. Like, relationships are always complicated and always sometimes one foot in the door, one foot out the door. The most important part is our relationship started off as best friends. And I think that's crucial because that's a different foundation, right? And he leaned on me. He was like, the NFL is not forever. Can you help me write a business plan? So like we pushed one another. Like he taught me what it was like to have tunnel vision, which many athletes have that. And that actually, I utilized that in business and really thought about some of his practices as a professional athlete that made him successful. I adopted that myself. And I think that was the beautiful part because we always pushed each other, even if we weren't together. Like when he had gone off to the Giants, I was like, I'm never moving. And then I met the soccer player and then we moved to Portland because he was coaching at University of Portland. So that was a whole interesting fight when we got back together. But, life is just a journey. And then this is not the glamorous side. So he started playing for the Cowboys. And first of all, it was the Cowboys. Like that, for me, I was just like, there's no way. Like, this is nuts. And so this is kind of a two-part. And the first part will kind of launch into something else I want to talk about. And then the second part goes back to why sometimes it's challenging to be in the situation of a WAG. So the first part is he's going to Dallas. We're at his mom's house, like talking about the schedule. The Seahawks are playing the Cowboys on my birthday, Monday Night Football in Seattle. And I'm like, no, I cannot wear a Dallas Cowboys jersey at home. I will wear your Seahawks jersey. And then
Unacceptable.
like
I swear I love you, but no.
it was like the dumbest fight ever, right? But I still stand on that. I was not going to wear that jersey. So we're kind of like, it was a playful fight, but he had slapped my stomach. And I was like, it stunned me. And like the look on my face, he was like, did that hurt you? And I was like, yes. So like, it was a very strange moment. And that was in 2018. And that was the first time I thought, does he have CTE? Like, and I didn't even really know a lot about CTE, but it was so out of the norm that in 2018, that was that thought in that moment. So then we'll go back to that in a minute.
Can you say what CTE is for anyone listening in case they don't know?
Yes, it's chronic traumatic encephalopathy, and it's a traumatic brain injury from repetitively hitting your head. I can say from my experience with Boston University, who's doing significant work right now in research on trying to find it in living beings. So imagine if you and I hit our head and it's like at 60 force, right? This is the best I can tell you in layman's terms because I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, but
I'd rather it this way. Mhm.
Me too.
Yes. So we hit our head at 60 force. That's causing damage to us. Every time a football player goes on the field with a helmet on, he's doing 100 force to his head every time he's hitting. So even if he gets concussed or not, that force is still occurring. So that damage is just nonstop over and over and over. And he was a linebacker, and he would tell you, I took men's dignity from them on the football field. Like, he was proud of that, right? And he was a beast. He was a savage. Like, but mentally and physically, what that does to you, it causes so much detriment to your body.
Yeah.
And I can go into more of that too. Like,
Yeah.
so that was the first time I was like, like, is that what's happening here? Yeah, that was an interesting situation. And then 2020, his brother passed away unexpectedly. He was hit on his motorcycle, and at that time, like, he was going to school getting his master's. He became like a finance analyst at CBRE, was doing a lot of great things. And dealing with that, he was still giving interviews about the importance of mental health, still doing speaking engagements for the Seahawks. And then by 22, the end of 22, I was like, you're saying things weird. Like, what is going on? Like, I was starting to get mad because, like, we didn't really ever fight. And it was more so, we were very good at seeking to understand one another, I would say. But I was like, you're so out of character. Like, I'm not understanding what is happening right now. So 23 comes, and at this time too, like, in 22, 23, I had 2 more significant losses. So my friend from, like, being teenagers with, in 2018, we decided we were going to open a talent agency together, and he was going to be the attorney on the running it, right? And he ended up drinking himself to death and leaving behind his 1-year-old. And so that was very shocking. That was July of 22. And that redirected me even more so into law and where I'm heading. And then also my brother from another mother in 23, he also was an attorney, and he took his life suddenly. And so my ex really reacted to that. Like, that affected him a lot. And it was interesting because, like, I didn't even see him react he reacted harsh, right, with his brother, but, like, I was starting to see different sides of him. And then towards the end of 23, really was just out of character. And I pushed back. I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, we were entering 24. I was like, this is almost 10 years now. Like, I'm just not doing it anymore. Like, I can't. And then he ended up getting 5150, which in the state of California, a cop or someone can have you committed for 72 hours. He was walking the streets. It was described as, like, somebody who was schizophrenic, like, just not himself. So he had an aha moment of, wow, she's pushing back on me. My mom's angry with me. I need to get help. So he called the NFL. The NFL sent him to a mental institution. And there's a lot of great things, right? Because there's, like, a case manager. I love her. Like, still to this day, if I need to reach out to her, I can. But unfortunately, with the guys who are emulating CTE symptoms, right? And like I said, you cannot be diagnosed with CTE while you're living. It's only in a postpartum situation when they diagnose you, or when they study your brain, basically. Yeah. So, but some of those symptoms include, like, memory loss, confusion, agitation, hallucinations, hearing voices. Like, when I tell you I've experienced all of this, I promise you, with the person that I know extremely well. he just became a whole different person. Like, it got so bad. He thought that people were out for him and that they had implanted a chip in his head. We went through the first stint of the mental institution, but the problem is that they treat them like schizophrenic or bipolar patients. And so they medicate them based off of that. So imagine being an athlete who your whole life you're active, you're the top 1%.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you're lethargic. You don't have energy to do anything. You want to sleep all the time because this medication is just making you crash. And then that's still not fixing the war that you are having with yourself in your brain. And so I would literally be asleep next to him and he would be fighting in his brain while he was asleep with noises coming out. And I would just, it was hard. It was a lot of long nights. And then, but when he came back the first time, it was like he was back. Like everything was great. And we were just like making plans. I was like, okay, this is gonna be fun. Like,
You're like, amazing. What a miracle. Like, let's go.
This
Yeah.
works.
clearly I didn't know everything about CTE yet. So
Mhm.
so that we were just like planning, building. We went to vacations, like just living life. And then again, switch. And then I found out he wasn't taking his medication, and rightfully so. I understand that. And then I started to do my due diligence and started meeting with Boston University and talking to other like NHL families, rugby families, military families, and just finding out like their experiences, right?
Mhm.
And it just really started to decline at a rapid pace. And there was one night, it was so bad because they don't want them to ever admit that they have CTE. Like there's a lot of liability issues that go hand in hand with this. And actually the thing that's hard for me to swallow is a lot of the team ownership funded Donald Trump's campaign, and traumatic brain injury research was one of the first things cut. Because imagine if you can detect it in a living being, it changes the narrative big time, right?
Mhm.
So it becomes more of a public, under the public
Conversation.
eye. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was making him celebrate his birthday early because I was like, I need to send you back to the mental institution. Which one? Let's talk about that. Like
That alone, how hard is that?
Yeah.
it was sometimes even like, I don't think I will never not be able to cry when I talk about CGE because I know who the incredible person is that he is. And forever, I will try to always share his legacy in a bright light because he helped so many kids. He's so intelligent. He truly, his heart is just so pure. And actually, so we're celebrating his birthday early. Well, let me back up. The night before, he was just having an episode. And he finally said, I have CTE. And then he started throwing up. So it was like he had worked himself into this, right? And then at like 3:00 in the morning, he wanted to go for a walk. And I'm like, you are a Black man. You are not going for a walk by yourself at 3:00 in the morning. So I went with him because I was like, I'm going to defend him. If
At the
some
very
shit hits
least,
the
we're not
fan,
doing this alone. Yeah.
I'm with him. I got you. Like a team.
We're good.
Yeah.
You're so cute.
So we went through that. And then I wanted to try to have like a normal day for his birthday as I could. And like we're big Marvel nerds. So like I remember when he was waiting to hear if he was going to Philly or the Giants, we were just watching Wolverine. Like we even went to Disneyland in matching Marvel shirts and did all of the Avengers land. Like when I say we love Marvel, that is our thing.
I adore this.
Yep.
Yes. And like when he was first out of the NFL, we ate cheeseburgers in bed and watched the Avengers. It was so good. It was so great.
That was a celebratory moment.
It was.
That's
Ew.
such a beautiful, like, humanistic thing that,
Yeah.
like, we also don't think. They're probably assuming you're, popping bottles at a club when you get all these things. And you're like, no, we wanted to just be together, eating a burger, in bed, watching the Avengers. That's so adorable.
There's one that's even funnier because, like, he was switching from safety to linebacker, and that's a big switch. Your body goes, like, massive change. And it was off season, and I was like, I just want froyo. He's like, we can't eat that. I'm like on this strict diet, and I was like traumatized. I'm like, it's frozen yogurt. So then it was so cute. Like, he remembered that. Like, I think it was like a year and a half ago, and he's like, I just want you to know we can have frozen yogurt whenever you want. I was like,
Oh.
he remembered that from like 2015 or something. I was like, that is so funny.
That's
So, but like,
that shows his heart. That shows his heart.
yes,
The
yes,
person.
yes. And like last year, I launched a clothing line to represent the 253 where I'm from. We call it the Deuce Nickel Tray, and the proceeds go back to the kids. And I had one that said 10 toes down, and it was so cute because he wanted that one so bad. And like the night it launched, like he had all my favorite wines, snacks, like, you know, very thoughtful, very supportive, even while having CTE. So like that's it's kind of in and out, right? So going back to the rough night, then I'm trying to make it nice. So we go to Wolverine versus Deadpool, of course, Marvel movie, and then we're at dinner, and he has like this epiphany, and he was cute. He was like, I know you don't like to repeat yourself, so I'm sorry if you are having to repeat yourself a lot lately. And I'm like, that's the least of my worries right now. Like, but thank you
That's
for
all this
being
was.
mindful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
like,
he's hurt. Like, he's going through all this stuff, but he's like, I want to make sure that you feel good.
yes. And so he said, who the hell is taking care of you right now? Because I'm not capable of it. And it was just like such an incredible moment between us, because what he didn't know, I said, literally, I have a 53-man roster of our friends, our family, your former teammates, their families. Like, even on 4th of July that year, the Locketts and the Shermans were together, like the moms, and they called and they prayed for him. Like, literally, I just had all of the people that were most. Mama Lynch will forever be so impactful in my journey with him. She really sat down. She even said, she's like, y'all have 10 years between you. Like, and then he said, it was cute. He said, in counting. But this was right before this next time at the mental institution. But you know, it was hard because I'd get him, right? I'd get the glimpses of him, and
Yeah.
we would have our highs, and then we'd have our extreme lows. And then we had a very intense moment in public the following day. And a lot of details I am not sure I'll ever speak on, just because, like I said, I will always protect him. However, it was the first time I was ever scared of him, and it was a very interesting moment for me. And then that night, like, he was laughing like the Joker. Like, I was just like, who are you right now? Right. And I'm like in a public place crying, like trying to like get us out of there. And that night it was so just intense. Like, the emotions had worked up so much again. And then he was like a toddler, literally crawled in my lap and just crashed out, fell asleep. So it was like,
Same.
he went through this
Every roller coaster.
intense, and I try not to say the word crazy. I said it earlier and I was like, damn it. But I try not to say it anymore because that's a very sensitive word, right? I've experienced this now, and it's just, yeah. So he went off to the mental institution, but he went for me. He didn't do it for himself. And as we know, when we don't do things for ourselves, it doesn't work.
Yep.
So it didn't work. And then on my birthday, ironically, that was my day. I said, I'm done. Like, because on my birthday, he said, what's up? I said, the same thing that's been up for 10 years. Like, what do you mean on this day? And then he was like, oh my God, like, oh my God, it's your birthday, right? So that was interesting. And then I think when you go experience this, and it was such a long process, right? You just slowly chip away. Like, you love them, but you as a human being is like, okay, like
There's only
how
so
much more can I do this, right? So
I
sorry, go ahead.
I I was gonna say I like what you said right there. I like to think of relationships as branches sometimes. Because like a branch on a tree, there's branches at varying different like widths and like strengths. And every once in a while there like a relationship cracks and like there was just too much weight on that branch. It can no longer be held. But that doesn't mean you don't have stronger branches for other relationships. And not every relationship is weighted equally. So some of them are farther out on the tree. They'll break decently easily if weighed too much
Right.
down, weighed down too much. And then as you get closer to the tree, you're closer to that human. So they can have so much more of you and weigh on you so much more. But eventually, all of it can break,
Right.
like hitting that moment.
And I think that was hard, and that's interesting that you say that, because if you ask like the people closest to me, they always say, "Well, he's your heart." And I'm like, "He is my heart completely." Like, you can't change that. Like, I feel like part of my heart is missing ever since all of that, right? And like the way, it's not like we broke up because we can't stand each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's
There's still
no option. And I learned in this is that it's called an ambiguous loss. Like, I'm grieving somebody who's alive still. And that's wild. That's been very hard for me to navigate. And I'm forever grateful for my family that the NFL has given me. So like that's one thing I do want to tie into all of this is like it's truly a family. It's not just a sisterhood with all of the other WAGs, but like his former coaches who've become like my brother to me, like former teammates, like they're all there with me and they all tried to help me help him. And then that's another aspect to watching them.
Yeah.
And that breaks my heart because then they're like, oh my gosh, like what is going on here? Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm forever grateful because this is now a family. It's not like these people will be with me for the rest of my life. And I'm grateful for that. And we've as you know, with football, birthdays, holidays, sometimes it falls on those times. So you're celebrating together, you're doing different traditions together. Um, so that was interesting. But I will say too, that wasn't just where this ended. Um, we had something very traumatic happen in November, and which was wild because literally the day before I met my most recent ex, the day before. And ironically, I'm at Cam and Richard's restaurant watching Thursday Night Football, trying to mind my own business. And then the general manager of UCLA football just walks in, and I told him condolences on your loss tomorrow because I knew UW was going to spank their ass. And that's how that started.
That's funny.
Yeah. But so that happened, and then the next day, my baby brother, so E's brother, so my brother-in-law basically, he killed himself. And that changed everything. I've spoken to him twice since November. I don't know where he stays. I know he's not in the best shape. Um, so yeah, that was a life-changing moment for sure. And then I had a few other things occur in that sense, and I want to protect other people because this is not just about me. And yeah, it's been a very interesting journey, and there are things that I have learned that I don't know if I'll ever come back from.
Yeah.
And one day maybe I'll talk about it. I don't know if and when that is, but it's been quite the journey. Yeah. I've been blessed though with the NFL too as well, like meeting other women who've been in my situation, and we tend to really gravitate towards one another and be there for each other and have a network now. And we're really focused on talking about this and not allowing it to be pushed under the rug anymore, because it's definitely pushed under the rug.
That was one of the main questions that I even wanted to know, is like in your journey of talking to NHL wives and families and
military wives and families, also NFL wives and families. That has to be something that is unbelievably sad, but also almost like comforting. And I wanted to just kind of hear about that because it is something that, even as little kids, they're like, okay, well, we'll just do flag football till they're 5, and then we'll
Right.
do full tackle. And I don't think people really think about it as hard as like, okay, well, they'll just get some concussions and that sucks and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's that like repetitive pounding that they take every single day for years, that people probably don't hear about as much. And that is, and NFL is, it's an industry,
Right.
um, right? So they're not going to be like, oh, this is very, very serious. They're just like keeping it over there.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you being so open and honest about this topic in general. And however we can support in like this mission, I am so down because that is so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, have you met new friendships because of this? And
Yes. It's so great because like my girlfriends have been tremendous. I mean, one, a lot of people are just grieving my relationship, right? It's not just me grieving it. It's people who are close to us that love him deeply. And that's been an interesting aspect to watch, right? Like
yeah,
even this year at the Super Bowl, my sister pulled up in his 10-year anniversary draft jacket that I had made. And for me, that made me happy because, paying homage to him. I do have a little bit of a surprise. I'm
oh,
returning to Thursday night football because I have been away. It's been very hard for me to do this, and I have a custom pair of shoes that are being made.
okay. If you could send us like that, I would love to just like
Yes,
put that in
yes,
here to be like, here they
yes,
are.
yeah.
Hey,
So his
congratulations!
name is Wally Champ. Wally Champ does all of like my custom bags. He did my custom bag for Uchenna's sneaker ball last year. And he's brilliant. He does a lot of cleats for cause,
Amazing.
or cause for cleats or whatever. I say that wrong all the time, but he sent me a sneak peek the other day and I just started crying. I was like, oh my God.
I cannot wait to see these. Please share photos once they are
I
in.
I will. I promise you I will be 10 toes down that day. Everybody will know where
I will
I
be.
stand, literally.
Oh, I'm so happy about this. Hey, congratulations! That's a huge deal.
Yes, I'm excited. My sister will be with me, my best friend will be with me. So we're celebrating my birthday in Scottsdale and doing all the things. So it'll be a good time.
Big year, hey?
Big year, yes. And then ironically, so back to my girlfriends being supportive. They have really now started to pay attention to CTE themselves. And like one of my friends who's Miss Washington, that's who I'm going to New York Fashion Week with. She's walking in it. Yes. Elle. Yes.
I love Elle.
Yes.
We love Elle. Yeah,
Yes.
Elle's
Yes.
literally a queen inside and out.
Yes. Elle's one of my good friends.
Amazing.
So she was like, Dre, look at this TikTok. And then she sent me this TikTok. And it was this woman just being completely open about her experience with her husband that she's trying to divorce that was in the NFL and her journey with CTE. And I couldn't even listen to it all because I just kept getting goosebumps. And I was like, I just have to talk to her. And now she's so important to me. And I'm just like, I kept saying I need to find somebody who completely understands how I feel. Because yes, the ones who've been right by my side, they understand to an extent, but they don't know what it was like with the war at 3:00 in the morning. You know what I mean? Like disrupting your sleep, like the roller coaster ride, right? And so that was wild. Just randomly TikTok video my friend sent me, and now we're connected and we talk to each other all the time and combining resources and meeting additional people. And so we're tossing around some things that we want to do together. Because I do believe in this case, especially, we're stronger together.
I 100% agree. I think there's power in numbers, and especially when it comes to creating awareness around something that many people are ignoring, don't know exists, and there is some shoving it down, like you said, like there's some
Yeah.
trying to keep it away. So I have two questions for you on that topic.
Yeah.
One,
if there was any one thing you wanted anyone listening to know about CTE, if there was like one thing you wanted to like put out there as an awareness piece so more people can start being aware of it, what would it be?
It's very unpredictable. And I was always put up on a pedestal and respected. And like anybody who saw him with me could see like how much he adored me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm the lucky one because the way that something like a switch in their mind can just go from like on and off, and the violence can happen so rapidly, like Aaron Hernandez killing people, right? But he treated his fiance, like tried to like protect her, right?
Yeah.
You just never know when that can occur. And like one thing too, if you suspect your loved one has CTE and they're starting to hear voices, that's a very severe aspect. Unfortunately, that's when a lot of them commit suicide. That's like the step before. Already on top of it, the average life expectancy of an NFL player is only 55 years old. So like that's insane to me.
I didn't know that. I did
Yeah.
not
I
know that
didn't
at all.
either.
Yeah. So, and now we're starting to see CTE appear in younger players. I think the youngest one was 17 that took his life.
That's
Oh
heartbreaking.
my God.
Yes. Yes. And then not to mention what just occurred at the NFL office building. They are studying his brain. So I'm going to be following that just to see, you know, how,
What's going
because
on?
it's sad at the end of the day. Like what people need to realize as well is like he clearly has a family. Obviously, the victims have families, the survivors, right? And I really want to highlight the word survivor in this because just because I came out differently doesn't mean there aren't survivors in my story with him.
Totally.
So, and I've had some pretty open dialogue, and that was a very tough pill for me to swallow. So just be mindful of that. Like, again, we were talking about with Brent earlier and seeking to understand, having compassion. People automatically think because you make millions of dollars, who cares what you go through? No, that's not even true. And just because you make quote unquote millions of dollars doesn't mean you're actually like
Making.
you
No,
make it,
yeah.
right? Depends on how your contract is structured. Unfortunately for him, his agent wasn't the best. And so I had one woman tell me in June, I forget how many times they had to move in like a short period of time, but it was insane. And I was just like dumbfounded. Like, how did you even survive that? Right. So the money is not necessarily what people think it is. Also, depending on what state you live in, taxes are in like, oh my gosh.
And
like,
your team.
No. Yes. Yes.
Like you have a team of people you're paying when you're at a status like that. It's not just like this is your personal salary. It's like, great, that's your salary, but
yeah.
your agent, your publicist, I'm sure the roster is longer than that.
It's so bad. And I think people need to steer away from just saying that because nobody deserves to get injured, potentially get CTE, shorten their life for money. I don't care any way anybody wants to paint that picture. That's just not, it shouldn't exist like that. And so I think for me, like I had an experience last time I was in Arizona, 2018. It was Lawyer Malloy, our friend Drew on the 50-yard line, and Earl Thomas had just shattered his leg for the second time. And this guy in front of us was like, this is what they pay you for. And then, you know, for me, it was hard to be with Law because then he's like, that's my brother. Like, what are you talking about? You know? And like, we just left because that wasn't even going to be worth
It was enough. Yeah.
engaging with because it was
Yeah.
so disrespectful and disgusting. But it's just another way for me to reiterate, like, these are human beings.
Yeah.
I don't care how much money they're making. They literally are putting their life on the line any given Sunday for our entertainment, and it's sick.
Yeah, people don't see the human aspect, right?
Yeah,
They'll see that they're playing a role, they're entertaining. Thank you so much. I'll buy your jersey.
right.
Here's the loyalty. And then when someone gets hurt, they're like, that sucks.
They're done
Instead
with
of
Right.
seeing the human who's been working for 30 years for this dream and all of a sudden it completely shatters. I also think there's a mental health case. I have friends that are, in other industries like the Olympics. And the second their career is over, they completely shut down because they're like, what am I supposed to do now?
Right.
Um,
There's an
and I think
identity
that's something
crisis
that
that
people don't
occurs.
think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just think
There's
you're
a
like on an
depression.
island somewhere spending your millions, living your best life. And that's not true. Like
No.
their entire sense of self is literally shattered. Because
what
that's all they've
next?
ever known is playing football.
Yeah. No, there's a depression that a lot of them experience because again, also a lot of their team that runs their life isn't necessarily thinking about that. It's transactional, right? And so unless you have somebody like a partner or a manager or an agent who truly loves you, they don't know what to expect.
Mhm.
And it's shocking to them for sure.
It's surprising to me that there's not, or I guess it is and it isn't, more resources, assistance, conversations of the mental health variety, even within the organization, since that's probably something that so many face, that depression after, of like, what's next? What's going on with my life? Like, it should be a bigger conversation for them because eventually everyone's career in that industry will be over. You can't do that
Right,
forever.
forever. Well, the NFLPA is really good at helping the veterans. There is access to healthcare, there is access to therapy. They
Okay, good.
also give them opportunities to explore broadcasting or a few other things, right, that they
Good.
might want to entertain. And then also things down to like golf lessons. Like he became a really good golfer after.
Amazing.
Yeah, so things to still keep them going, and then, like, their teams, like, he would still come back, do speaking engagements for the Seahawks, still was involved with the community. So it's still a family at the end of the day. Like, the Seahawks are
Good.
tremendous with creating community and, like, all of the legends, like, they host them on the first game, and then they're on the field, and they get together with their significant others, and I think that's very meaningful, and it's interesting because I loved this conversation with other women. We have it pretty amazing in Seattle compared to other teams and
Okay.
cities. And like, especially too in Seattle, we had the moms. Like, that is a unique piece of it. So, like, to me today, Mama Tatupu, Mama Sherman, Mama Lynch, at any moment in time when my life is hitting the fan, those three women I can call and they're going to give me sound advice. And like it's going to be deep rooted in love and wisdom. And they've always been significantly supportive.
What would you say is one thing that you really learned about yourself throughout this journey?
I would say my resilience. I learned a lot about that. I kept going back to really who I am and like my character. And I think it also helped me realize that I truly am meant to help people because even when I'm going through the chaos myself, I'm still thinking like, oh my gosh, this could be worse. Like, what if I was financially dependent upon him? Or what if we had 4 kids? Or, you know what I mean? What are those women
Yeah.
doing? And I found myself thinking that way, right? So I think that helped remind me that I'm on this path of wanting to become a lawyer, help people. I mean, truly with CTE, I promise you I will in my lifetime at some point find a solution for this. Um,
Yes.
so I think it's just really helped me stay focused and more grounded. And then also get rid of distractions. Like I've cut a lot of things and people out of my life and really just came back to like I was very blessed. Like I never had daycare. I was with my grandparents every day before and after school, and they were born in 1922. So the wisdom they instilled, and then like
Totally.
the work ethic, and then also giving back to community, like that's priceless. And so like everything I do every single day, I feel like my papa is just walking with me, you know? Same with my dad. Like, I I think I rely heavily on my angels. Like, I do have a very strong faith in that. And Katsuji even said after my dad passed away, like, I've never seen you so savage in business. And I was like, well, my dad's with me every day. He's not going to let me fail. So, like, probably, and I used to call him a lot for business advice. So that would make sense. And then I think, too, experiencing a lot what I have has helped me understand some things that my mom went through, which I think is important as women, right? Because moms really go through a lot of shit and they just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And like, I've always loved and respected my mom, but through this journey, I think it's elevated that level of love and respect for her. And I think that's important too. So it's helped me with
Beautiful.
some of my relationships make it stronger.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible to be able to take something that has been so hard and you were dealing with so much simultaneously at the same time, not even just the CTE, but then the losses and all of it, and always be able to find that moment of, this is what I've gained from it, but while still allowing the space and the awareness to go, that sucked. It does suck.
Right.
But
Yeah.
like, my feelings are valid, my tears are valid throughout this whole experience, but this is what I've gained from it, and this is how I can move forward and have it move me closer to my goal, share more awareness about whatever it may be, and etc.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I feel like this is a great turning point to just kind of speak of the culmination to now.
Yeah.
Where you are today. Obviously, you have lots of passions and fires in you to bring awareness for all of these different things within your platform. So CTE, women's rights, civil rights, all of that. You're a law student, you're a talent manager, you wear a lot of hats. Is there one thing right now today that maybe we haven't already listed that's fueling you right now?
I think just staying focused on myself, and because it's very hard. It was funny because, like, when I started on the journey of law, they were like, have a good therapist. And I was like, why? One, the cases are insane. I've been on some pretty harsh cases to swallow. You also like learn how to deal with that. So, but I'm also I don't want to ever lose my empathy. So I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't become numb to this. So, I think navigating that, and then working in entertainment, like just last night, I had something come out of nowhere that we have something scheduled, and now this is a potential TV show that wants to butt up to that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So, I've been kind of working on that the last 12 hours, navigating those waters. I think it's interesting too, like, you find yourself in interesting rooms, working in entertainment. And I think in that process, that's helped me be even more assertive because it's significantly male dominated, and they will test you big time. And so, I'm 75% Irish. I swear a lot. I usually just tell
Love
people
it.
what I'm thinking, and they know where they stand with me. So, and that's also helped me develop in business. I would say, like, I can spend 5 minutes with somebody and I'll be like, no, I'm not messing with that person. Like, that's a hard no for me. Like, being able to use discernment and read that room has helped me a lot. I just want to adopt that more in my personal relationships, I think. Because I
Easier
think
said than done.
we allow a little more bullshit to occur, I think. And moving forward, I don't have time for that. So
Yes.
Queen energy over here.
yeah.
For sure.
So men, if you want to approach me, you better come correct. That's all I have to tell you.
Watch it.
What has
Because
been
I'm
your
not. This is another thing that I've adopted in the last 4 months. I am not the one. I am the one. So, like,
yes.
keep that in mind.
We need that on a t-shirt or like a notebook,
Yes.
something to remind us on a daily basis.
Yes. Yes.
What is your like best advice for a woman in male fields? and like dominating in that industry, because a lot of our listeners definitely are other female founders or female business owners. So I think this is also a fascinating conversation, and I'd love to see more women in male fields.
Yeah, I think I've always believed in you can never know too many people. Now, that doesn't mean I want any new friends, but you can never know too many people, right? And that's led me into rooms that or situations that I was like, how am I here right now? Right? Like a girl from Puyallup, Washington. I think actually this is a pretty pivotal moment in my decision to become an attorney. It was in 2020 on election day. I was working with World Central Kitchen to feed people, and I was also working with Vote Early Day, so VH1's and MTV's organization to get people registered to vote, educate them on why the importance of that. And lo and behold, on election day, it's Reverend Jesse Jackson and myself working side by side, feeding people, registering new voters. He's telling me as we're at the United Center, this used to be a pool hall where Martin Luther King and I used to play pool together. And it was just like a moment of like, how the hell am I here right now? Right? Like, okay, I don't believe in coincidences, right? So I think the sooner you recognize that you're meant to be in these places, these spaces, to meet these people, the more that you believe in yourself, that helps you because that creates that assertiveness, right? Like you can still be soft, but also it builds just like that persona, like she's a powerhouse, right? And then I don't represent any women, which I didn't go out of my way to do that, but it's just naturally men want me to represent them. And I think that has something to say about my personality and truly how I handle myself in business situations when it predominantly is all men in the room and we end up getting what we want and we win together. So really have that confidence, have that support system, and don't be afraid of putting yourself out there and meeting new people.
I love that. It's the hidden confidence too of like, oh, I'm in, this chair's for me. My
Yeah.
name is
Yeah.
you can sit there. This
Yes.
is for me. I think that's actually really, really special because even just personally, there are many rooms that I walk into that I'm like, oh my gosh, baby Kelly would not believe the people that I'm chatting with.
Yes.
And then you have to think about like, yeah, well, baby Kelly was setting that foundation for me to get here to be in this room. And there are people around me that there is a reason why I'm in this room. Right. So
Yeah.
we'll make those connections, go love on people hard. And you're never going to fail when you have like that posture of service and know that you're meant to do that and know that you're meant for more. I think
Yep.
that's really beautiful.
Absolutely. Yes. I couldn't agree more. I love how you say baby Kelly because I do that with myself. Like baby Drea would not believe this.
Totally. And I'm like, oh,
Say the same.
I literally have a photo of baby Kelly on my desk.
Oh, I
Um,
love that.
And her and we have chit chats most days where I'm like, we got this. Okay. I'm doing this for you. You deserve better. Here we go.
Actually, that's wild you say that because my mom saves everything. And I found a poem I wrote at 14. And it was literally me talking about wanting peace for the world, finding like justice for people, shopping on Rodeo Drive, which I was like just there, right? And I was like, and I sent it to Jesse, and he's like, oh my God, 14-year-old Drea knew what she was going to be.
You knew. We
Yeah.
always do, I feel like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's really beautiful. That's really, really beautiful.
It shows that this is your path. This is the aligned path that you were meant to be on, and it was always there. And there were
Yes.
some turns and twists along the way that you've picked up different pieces, but like this is where you're meant to be.
Absolutely. Undoubtedly, for sure.
I love that so much. Okay, so what would you tell kind of someone in the same vein of, having that confidence in a room? Let's say you were talking to your best friend. What would you
Mhm.
tell them when they're doing something and they feel like it's too late? Like, no, it's too late for me to do this. It's too late for me to work on this cause or do this new business or really attack this goal of mine. What would you tell her?
First, I'd ask why. Like, why do you feel like that? Are you feeling that way because society tells you? Or is it because of a fear inside of you, right? Holding you back or making you self-sabotage yourself, right? I think again, it's just going back to seeking to understand. And then I would just, I think I would just start asking questions to uncover the why And a lot of times that just helps us realize our answer. So,
Mhm.
because I
One of
don't
those
want to
moments.
ever tell anybody, right? Like, I don't, I always want to be mindful because we all have different experiences and we all have different feelings and we don't always share every detail. So, I think I'm good at leading people to figuring out a solution.
That's a
Amazing.
skill. That's like a really
Mhm.
huge skill. I'm sure you know that it is, but like I always am very impressed when someone is able to do that because it's so much more impactful because they can then have that moment of this was my epiphany and I got myself here and like they're going to feel so much more confident in that answer than it would be if it was like, yeah, no, but you should just do this. Like it's just
Right.
such a different moment and it'll like ingrain in them so much better for them to be able to take that tool and do it with themselves again in the future.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
What are you dreaming about these days? Even if it scares you a little bit, do you have like a massive dream that you're like looking out towards?
Well, I think it was funny because I've always dreamed of going to New York Fashion Week. So it was like, I made a big switch of ending my relationship, and all of a sudden they're like, come to New York Fashion Week. And I was like,
Okay.
so ladies, leave the men at home. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Or
Yes.
That's funny.
because there's so much opportunity out there. No, but it was just like one of those moments like I've been to the Super Bowl, so like this is my Super Bowl moment, right? And
Yes.
I don't even have any expectations besides my sister and I are going to Chicago next week and I'm going to have a few fittings. So I will have the outfit on lock. But other than that, I'm just going to go with the flow and see where the road takes me.
That's so beautiful.
That's going to be a pivotal moment for me, I think, just overall, because it's just something I've dreamt of since I was in fashion school in high school, right? So, um, that is major. I think I don't know. I have some aspirations I think I want to achieve in my next decade of life, but I'm not ready to talk about them. I also started a book in 2021 and then Brent was murdered and my co-author was like, this is now a 10-year project. I think we're at the middle of the book. And now thank God she said that because I'm like, God, look what's happened in 4 years. Like,
Like, ma'am, I
so
think I just wrote the second book.
yeah, this is now a series. So like,
For sure.
Kelly
yeah,
and I
so
say that all the time. Anytime something crazy happens, we're like, you know what? It's good for the plot. It's good for the
yes,
plot.
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Just to keep
for
yourself moving.
sure. The plot's
Mhm.
always thickening.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, well, our favorite, my favorite, at least when we have a guest, and our final question that we love to ask is if you could go back to baby Drea
Yeah.
way before the NFL run-ins, way before Brent, way before really anything that's happened in your life, what would you tell her?
Baby Drea was so shy. Like she had a fear of public speaking. Um, I won the Dare essay and I had to read it in 6th grade and it was the worst moment of my life. So I think I would go back to that day and let her know that life is actually really fun, especially if you put yourself out there and are not afraid about what anybody thinks of you. Be unapologetically yourself. That's okay to do that because it took me, I think, a while to navigate those waters. And always seek the positive in life because no matter how bad it gets, there's so much more and like so much good like
Yeah,
waiting for you on the other side.
I
I
love
like that.
this.
I love
That's a
that
perfect
too.
answer. Hmm.
Oh, baby Drea is so proud.
Yes.
Yes.
And
She
so we know that you are obviously doing so many things in many places and spaces. Let
Yeah.
our listeners know how they can love on you. What do you have coming up? What can you tell them about?
Yeah. So we have Uchenna's second sneaker ball and it's at the Hyatt Regency on Lake Washington on October 25th. So that's going to be such a fun time. Like you get super creative with your kicks, you dress up in formal outfits. It benefits his foundation, which is extremely important. And you just get to mingle and meet people and all that good stuff. And then my client, celebrity chef Katsuki Tanabe, will be coming to Seattle for that as a guest. And he will be doing a dinner as well with anchovies and salt at the Renton Landing. I think that's still considered the landing. and he'll be cooking with some friends, some current and former Seahawks. So
Fun.
it's fun. I think it'll be a fun experience for both of them. And then I have some things in 26 that I'm not ready to announce yet, but they're coming and they're big.
Be on the
So
lookout.
yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Where can people find you online so that they can stay tuned to catch the 2026 announcements when they drop?
Yes. So Instagram, I think, is the best for me. At
Okay.
Drea Cargill. Um, I've never posted a TikTok in my life. I will get on there and I'll peruse, but I've never made
That's okay.
that. So
Mhm.
usually I'm in the background, right? I don't want to
Okay.
post
Mhm.
myself. So yeah, Drea Cargill is the best way. And then if there's anybody out there who have questions or want advice, I'm an open book. They can reach out to me anytime.
Amazing. Is the best way to reach out via DM?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Drea, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for your posture for service. Thank you for letting us really kind of go into your story. I know it's a lot, and I appreciate your heart really so much. And we are holding space for you always.
Thank you for
Absolutely.
having me. It's been a fun time for sure.
Thank you. All right. We'll chat soon.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. We have new episodes coming out every Thursday, so we will catch you in one of the next ones.
And please take some time, follow us on @FindYourFuse or email us at info@findyourfuse.com for all inquiries and all exciting things that you want to chat with us about. We love building this community and we love you. Take some time and leave a review. Anything above 5 stars, we'd love it. But really, we appreciate you and we appreciate your feedback in any form, because the more feedback we can get, the better we'll get. Okay, love you. Bye.